In this video, we're going to go over how to use the training services report in Illinois Works. When you're logged in the system, select the reports icon right here. And for project category, Illinois Works. And then we'll select this IWRS training services report here. This will take us to the report where we can filter by grantee if you have access to more than one site. You can also filter by cohort and activity, which is the training service list here. And we can also search by a date range of when the service begins and ends. So when we make our selections, we'll click filter. And below we'll see a table of results. We have columns for the customer name, the service status, the start and end dates, the number of hours required as they were entered, and the cohort details, the total attendance hours, if a makeup session was attended, and then the assessment information for name, score, and date. So when we're making a selection, to edit for a participant, we'll click this edit button here, and let me select this participant. And the window will open up and we'll see, those rows that we saw in the table view are now in this window here. And we can update the information. So the status for this service is started. And as a reminder, in order to complete a training service, the attendance must be 80% of the required hours, and the assessment must have a passing score of at least 70%. And so when we have a service that started or open, we can update the attendance hours or the assessment name or both. But if we try to, and let me just go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and say, maybe we have 2 hours so far. And we'll just click save. And we'll see that the service has been updated. Let's find our participant here so we can see 2 has been entered for total attendance hours. And let's go ahead and enter the assessment information now. So we'll say assessment A, a score of, let's just say 65, and the assessment date of today. So we'll enter that information in and click save. If we scroll down, we'll see that our assessment information has been entered as well. Now I know these aren't, passing scores or attendance, but if we click edit, we do have a check in the system that if we try to mark this as successful completion, we'll see the system say this does not meet the requirement, nor does the assessment score. So we try to save, nothing will happen. But if it turns out that we do have the required hours and assessment score for successful completion, we can come back to our participant here, see the status has been updated. We have our hours and our passing score. And so that's one way to update participants in the system here. Another way is to upload. So if we click this upload button, sorry about that. Looks like our programmers are pushing out an update, but as we continue, so when we click the button to upload participants, we have a download here where we have a template, and I've pre-filled this information for purposes of this video, but the template, you'll enter the names and the workNet IDs for your participants who are enrolled. You'll enter their emails and then the name of the service, and then you can update the status to. We have in the drop down, so we'll say started. We'll mark these as successful completion. So we have our statuses that we can select from the drop down, our start dates. We got our hours. If an attendance session was attended, then we have our assessment information here. So I've saved this. And I do want to note that for the first name, last name, worknet ID, email, and activity, the names, for those fields need to be an exact match. Otherwise, the system will not accept the upload. There's not a partial upload. It is that all the information has to be correct in order for the upload to go through. So once we've updated our spreadsheet here, we'll select the file to upload, and then we'll select our provider that they're with and the cohort they're in, and then we'll click upload. And so the system will identify if there's any errors. They could appear, for name, email. If there's a typo, that will say, this doesn't quite match what we have in the system. And in this case, we do have the check here as well. We tried to mark these as successful completion, but with the passing score lower than 70%. And the same thing will happen too for the attendance hours. And so what we'll need to do is we'll just need to go back to our file and make that correction. So we'll say that the participant did pass. And then from here, just down below, we can re-upload. And then we click the upload button here. We'll see that we don't have any messages from the system indicating that the information is incorrect. So we'll go ahead and click submit. This is kind of the summary review page. So we'll click submit, and we'll see from the system that the profiles have been successfully updated. And we'll return to the service report, the training service report here. And if we check our participants that we updated, let me go back to our filters here. Let's see, in the spreadsheet we had module 104 and 103. Okay, so we'll look at 104 first. And we had, this is the one we uploaded here, the second row, successful completion. We have our attendance hours and our passing score. And if we look at our other participants that we updated here, now that there is the assessment score higher than 70, that will display here as well. And so this updates it in the training services report. And if you manually go into the participant's profile and select that training services tab, previously, we've been manually entering and updating the services. These dates, status, scores, attendance hours, those will be reflected there as well. And the last item I wanted to point out is we also have an export report. So we have our table here. And if we select the export button, we'll get an Excel download of, based on our filters here in the training services report, we'll get a download of that information. And so that is how you can utilize the training services report in the Illinois Works system.